Alright, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back. And let me tell you, I was scrolling through the replays and one caught my eye. We have to check this one out. It is going to be a world-class Terran versus Zerg in the top left-hand side of the map. It's Innovation. I want to say Innovation is on Kazi Gaming. Don't quote me on that 100%. However, in the bottom right, playing for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is one of the top Zergs in the world, if not the top Zerg in the world. It is Dark, an absolute monster of a Zerg, taking on one of the top Terran players in the world, who has been the top Terran player in the world numerous times and is just so consistent. And now we've got just a TvZ between these two, which is it's gonna be for the ages, I feel like, a matchup between these two guys. The map is gonna be Nightshade. And yeah, I'm just excited for this. Dark, he previously won BlizzCon over Raynor, which was quite impressive. And then, yeah, Innovation, his last really most successful result was at, I want to say, Home Story Cup. He did pretty well. It's been a while, though. It's been a while since we had some really major StarCraft 2 tournaments. We had GSL Super Tournament, and then, of course, there's tons of online cups going on. But as far as the best proving grounds, there's been a bit of a break in StarCraft, but it's all going to get going again, and I am excited for it. And, of course, I'll be casting the best games on this channel that I find. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Innovation is moving out on the map with an SCV, but while we wait for things to heat up just enough, let's try and aim for the stars. For Innovation versus Dark, for two of the top StarCraft 2 players in the world, can we try and break 100 likes on this video? It's really an ambitious goal for this channel. It would be great, though, if we could. That would be absolutely smashing if we could. Now, we have got ourselves Dark, going to be going for double queen, 6 lings on the way. The 6 lings essentially saying, get out of my face, Reaper. If you commit to 6 lings, you're essentially not supposed to lose a drone whatsoever to the Reaper. And then Dark just going to be getting up at third base as well. We saw him pull out a gas quite early on to deal with this. Oh, a drone though. Oh, that was a close one. I totally almost jinxed Dark there. Innovation just about nabbing up that drone. Dark, though, a very good Zerg, saves it in his Vespene Geyser using the extractor, or an extractor trick, I guess. Now, Reaper runs on in, tosses down a grenade, trying to bruise up that creep tumor. Then just the third base is on the way for Dark. So much effort both these players are putting in before this game has even really started off. Just one Reaper, just some lings and the queen all microing. And these guys just playing insane, like APM, 327 average for Innovation, whereas Dark, 368, holding steady, but Dark has very high APM surges, one of the fastest StarCraft 2 players that there is. Let's see, Reaper gonna run on up for Innovation. It wants to get into Dark's base, maybe just hop in, hop out, check, make sure there's no roaches or anything on the way, and the Reaper will make it in there, but whether it'll make it out, that's a different question. 2 queens are waiting, but it does make it out, so that's good for Innovation. Although, oh no, massive mistake there for Innovation, losing his Reaper for nothing. He had done the hard work of getting it in, getting it out. However, about here it turned around and rallied that way, so you got to be very careful with your Reapers. Innovation now has 2 Hellions coming on in, but no Reaper to join them, and 2 Hellions can't honestly get too much done. You can always try and dive your Hellions into your opponent's space, but they are limited as to what they'll get done. Now, if we do take a look, though, this is quite an early Roach Warren for Dark. This could potentially spell aggression or just defense. With Dark, I'd say it could very well be a bout of aggression, but it could also just be some very early safe defense playing against someone as good as Innovation. Overlord moves on in for Dark, just kind of like, what's going on? I see that gap in your wall. That's definitely a CC-sized gap. Roach is on the way, Spores on the way, Dark being very safe. And yeah, he's just going to be getting up to about 6 roaches, a very safe amount of roaches. Enough to push these Hellions back, that's for sure. Innovation will have a Banshee on the way, though, so this Banshee will essentially ensure that the Roaches can't move out on the map to really get anything done. Innovation actually running into these roaches, I feel, will be quite happy to spot these, because these are guaranteed kills for the Banshee, whereas Dark, who spotted and sniffed, or I guess who sniffed out the Banshee anyway, already has spores, already has queens in position, so these roaches are potentially all the damage that this Banshee will really get done easily. The Banshee moves on in, gonna start working away on one of these queens, probably won't get her though. Gonna bruise up yet another queen. However, spore crawlers are in position at the natural. Innovation, oh, does he get the queen? Not quite. He's gonna be looking for transferring drones. However, Dark, he's got spores, he's got units in position. Innovation dives on in towards the third base. Oh, a little bit of an overcommitment, I feel, though, for Innovation. However, the two Banshees are still going to be looking for some damage. One queen gets picked off. The Banshee's going to force these queens back as well. Dark having a tough time dealing with these Banshees until his lair is done. These Banshees might actually get another queen. Looks like they do. That is 3 queens in all for Innovation. Really justifies him losing a few of those Hellions. These Hellions now, which will also just run by these roaches. A good move there for Innovation, avoiding them. A good, equally good move for Dark, trying to look for those Hellions, knowing that they're out on the map. One roach will run into these Banshees. That'll be the end of this guy. The bug gets squashed. Dark reproducing more queens here. Then we have double Evos on the way for Dark, who's primarily relied on a roach defense and will continue to do so, as he is going to be getting up that roach speed, that glial reconstitution. The 4th base also on the way here for Dark, so a very standard Zerg play. Dark hasn't been slowed down too much by this. Innovation has had a pretty unique Banshee play, getting mainly queens instead of drones. But then again, for Innovation, it wasn't much of a commitment. He committed to the cloak, to the Banshees, but he's kept the Banshees alive. They're still going to have great utility. Innovation has thrown away a few Hellions, but at this point, the game's starting to get to the spot which the Hellions don't actually get too much done, so he trades away the 3 Hellions for 3 drones. Not a bad trade, I don't think. Not an amazing one, but not an awful one. All the while, Innovation is now going to be looking to take this game further by going for a drop with these Marines. It's the first drop that's going to be moving out onto the map. Dark, however, has his spores tucked close to his hatchery, which won't actually repel these Medivacs as easily. They've got to reposition here. Innovation, though, does have to be careful. The spore repositions. One of the Medivacs already taking a beating from the Queen. Looks like most of these Lings or these Marines are actually just going to be abandoned here. Innovation might be able to get in with one of the Medivacs to save some of those Marines. Looks like he'll save some. Flying in with that injured Medivac was quite a mistake, though, from Innovation. He should have realized that there was no hope for that Medivac making it out. He kind of just suicided it in. Now, another thing that I would like to point out is Innovation, while he's gone for this Banshee play, he has been able to keep these Banshees alive, which are great tools against the Zerg, who's making only roaches. Dark may also make some Lings or Banelings with this, but essentially the point I'm making is a Zerg who's only making air unit, or only making units that shoot on the ground or attack the ground. Innovation, with, say, some Banshees in the sky, can use these Banshees to great effect to repel Dark in odd spots by abusing his lack of anti-air. Whereas if this was like a Muta player or a Hydra player, Innovation wouldn't be able to abuse these Banshees as well for as long. Whereas now he's got great incentive to keep these Banshees alive. Looks like he will move in further towards the main, though. Loses one of the Banshees. Probably will lose the second. Of course, Innovation can't predict that Dark is going to heavily delay anti-air so much. Innovation going to continue on dropping, though. He's got to drop down towards the bottom left now. Eyeing up this 3rd base at Dark. The Baneling Nest could potentially be exposed here. We'll see what Innovation's able to get. The Marines and Marauder going to go for it. We see this Baneling Nest could potentially get picked off. Looks like it will. This 1-1 bio puts out damage pretty quickly there. And that Baneling Nest just disappears. So great move for Innovation. They're shutting that down, delaying Bane's speed, which is going to be critical for Dark in taking, say, decisive engagements when it comes down to the big fight. Whether you win or lose, having Banelings with speed is very important to that. Whether Innovation is going to be able to capitalize on that, that remains yet to be seen. However, Dark, though, still forced to rebuild that Baneling Nest. Innovation going to be dropping towards the 5th base. Dark has units in position, though. Innovation needs to pay attention to this. Eats some corrosive vials, loses a Medivac, loses some of his units. Going to have to lift those up and get them out of there. Innovation being forced away. He's got some Medivacs flying right down the center. He's got Medivacs flying into the main base. Dark, though, is doing a good job defending versus these. Innovation just flew over a ton of creep right into a bunch of queens, throwing away some of his bio there. a big mistake there, losing 2 medivacs full of bio for no real reason. I understand trying to drop all over Dark, but Dark is a masterclass Zerg. You need to be playing a million miles an hour, essentially, to take down Dark with ease, as going for drops like that just right down the center aren't going to cut it. Dark is very good at covering all of his bases. Innovation, while this is going on, is still progressing, though. He's got his 2-2. We'll see if he starts his 3-3. He's got up a 4th base. I'd really like to see a wall get up for Innovation at this 4th base, because I can almost guarantee you the monster Dark is going to be looking to, say, counterattack and get some Banelings in towards that 4th base. Innovation going to be trying to respond to this attack here from Dark. So far, Dark's done a really good job pushing all over, just shutting down the drops. He's got his army just not sitting in one spot for more than a second, it would seem. He's just anticipating every drop, getting ready for it, defending on the left, defending at the 5th base, and so far the Zerg hasn't had a single base canceled, which is really the main checkbox for a Zerg to have a successful transition into the mid or late game. Not losing one of your bases really tells you that the Zerg is doing pretty well. Dark, though, is taking a bit of a sour fight here. He doesn't actually have Baneling speed just yet, so Innovation's delay is giving him grounds to potentially push on in. Innovation also dropping towards the 5th base. That'll get shut down. He's got the Spy on the left side. We'll see if that moves in. Innovation pushing towards this location. Baneling speed is finished up now, though, so Dark does have that going for him. Innovation with a slight upgrade lead. However, Dark's going to have Adrenal Glands soon. He's going to be having himself ranged attacks, so his Ravagers and Roaches will actually be on par with Innovation's upgrades. We're seeing Dark, though, attack on in towards all these Siege Tanks. Innovation's Dark at least getting some Corrosive Biles off onto the Siege Tanks of Innovation, making sure he's not leaving empty-handed. But now we see Dark, he's managed to get up an Infestation Pit, a Hive, get up these Vipers, and he's now going to push on in. Parasitic Bomb goes down. Do we see a Blinding Cloud? Yes, we do. It hits multiple Siege Tanks there, really taking the bite out of Innovation's attack. Dark cleaning up Innovation's attack. Very well done. Innovation getting pushed back dangerously close towards his 3rd base. Widowmines avoids some Corrosive Bile. That is a good move for Innovation. He really can't afford to lose any more units. Widowmine gets a great connection there for the Terran. Dark, got to be careful to avoid those. However, we got the big boys coming out here for Dark now. They're going to be really adding a backbone to this Zerg army. This is where the Zerg slowly begins to transition away from the Roach Ravager, more so into, say, the Lingbane Muta Ultralisk composition, maybe with Corruptors later on, as it is the more ideal composition as the Ravagers and Roaches lose effectiveness as the game goes on. That being said, we can't write off Dark's Ravager control. He's always going to be tossing down those Corrosive Biles, trying to hit Widowmines, hit Medivacs, just get any pick off that he can, because he essentially is such a good player. He's like, I got him, I'm going to use him as well as you can. We see a great surround right now for Dark. Parasitic Bomb comboed on Innovation's Medivac, forcing the Terran back, dealing massive amounts of damage to the Terran army. Innovation is going to have to dodge Corrosive Biles. Once again, we see Dark's expert usage there, forcing the Terran back, forcing him to think he has to dodge Corrosive Biles as he's retreating. Dark is a master player when it comes to using his units 100% efficiently. We've even got some old classic Ultralisks here for Dark now, going to be pushing across the map. Widowmines for Innovation have got some really great connections so far. We'll see if they get any more. The Terran player going to be moving down towards his 3rd base to ensure that he defends that without taking too many losses. The Liberators and Widowmines are stalling the Zerg for now, which is kind of surprising because Dark's army just seems monstrous, like it could potentially push on into Innovation. However, Dark, a very cautious player, and probably rightfully so, not attacking into an unknown number of Widowmines, Liberators, and Siege Tanks. Innovation has got up a 5th base, so it's not like he's going to be running out of steam super soon. Both players are maxed out. We see more barracks getting up for Innovation. We'll see if we get a Ghost Academy or more starports, something like that, as the Terran will have to transition. Innovation is a master Terran when it comes to using just Marines, Marauders, Medivacs, and Mines as long as he possibly can, but they will lose effectiveness taking on Dark. However, Widowmine's going to get good connections, cleaning out a lot of that Ling fodder, but we do see the Ultras are strong enough to force the Terran back. Dark getting great efficiency on his Parasitic Bombs again and again, thinning out the Medivac count of Innovation. We saw some drones go down. 9 drones went down somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where that was, but still nothing too significant. We see Dark sends one Ultra towards this planetary fortress, but it could get caught. That's going to be a nice pick off there for Innovation. Ultras are not cheap at all for the Zerg, so Dark's got to be very vigilant with those. Dark just constantly producing non-stop. However, neither player is in a comfortable lead in this game. I'd say Dark's in a pretty good spot. He's going to be looking to move in and crack this planetary and really catch Innovation off guard here. As we take a look, Innovation, he shuts down the base on the bottom right, but it costs him his 5th base location. Innovation is going to try and hit this base here. However, he's going to be losing a lot of bio to this attack. Once again, Dark with a parasitic bomb on the Medivac is going to kill him off, cut off these Terrans' escape route. Keep in mind, Dark hasn't had a unit that can directly attack air units yet, and yet he's killed off, drumroll please, as we watch this fight go on. Innovation Kite the Ultra's taking a good fight, and yet 18 Medivacs have gone down. That's essentially all Parasitic Bomb and Corrosive Bile, which is mental for Dark, having such control. Having such, I don't know, just redundance or just steadfast to constantly be using those Parasitic Bombs, to constantly be weaning down the Terran there. And if we take a look, Innovation, he's just reestablishing his 5th base. No 6th base in sight. It's going to be tough for Innovation to do that. All the while, Dark having to repel these constant attacks from Innovation. So neither player is not being pressured right now. Innovation will lose another big chunk of his bio. He's got to be careful trading away units like that. Could have saved those. However, he's focused pushing on this location. But yet again, we look at the Terran army. There is a beautiful set of Parasitic Bombs there hitting the Medivacs, softening them up. All it takes is one Parasitic Bomb, one Corrosive Bile to finish off those injured Medivacs. Innovation may actually need them, though, to escape, and he is going to get those units out of there in that very, very injured ride. However, as this game goes on, though, I think it will get better for Dark, as he's going to have seemingly an easier time taking more bases. Innovation currently locked down to 5, whereas Dark is at least on 6 bases here. Could potentially get a 7th. I'd actually love to see him try and start up a 7th ASAP, as you just want to have a base constantly building in case you lose one, really, is the thought there. But both players here are on low economies. It is tough, particularly when Dark is playing against a Terran such as Innovation, who's all over on the map. And I want to talk about Innovation this game. He hasn't gone for Ghosts. He hasn't gone for a significant number of Liberators. It's essentially just been all Marine, Marauder, Medivac, just pushing over against Dark. And Innovation is trading pretty darn well up to this point with this, because he's actually still ahead in the resources lost. And when a Zerg's on Ultras, when a Zerg's on a high Vipers, that's usually where the Terran starts to trade very poorly, whereas Innovation has constantly just been taking good trades by not letting Dark take exceptional fights. We see Innovation, he's having to retreat, Widowmines go off, loses some Medivacs to Parasitic Bomb, which is quite painful, but Dark loses another base there. Innovation dropping to this location here as well. Innovation does just lose some more bio, doesn't keep it alive. He's also secured this base here, but it's actually not very secure. It's just an orbital. There's no planetary. So while Innovation is mulling that and mining a bit from it, I don't know how long that's going to stay up. We see the Ultras, the Lings, going to be crashing on in towards this 5th base. Innovation is not going to get that up, and that is the 6th base, pardon me, but it is very important that Innovation gets that base up, because he is going to be running out of steam soon. Mules can artificially keep a Terran economy going for longer by mining more off a smaller number of mineral patches, but we see Innovation's natural running out, his 3rd running out, his 4th isn't even looking that good, his 5th looking very poor too. He's going to be trying to get up the 6th base while also trying to get up, say, the 7th base too, which is very important for Innovation. You've got to be expanding in more than one location, because odds are Dark is going to swoop in and cancel one, if not both. Widowmine gets a great connection there on some Lings. Up to 14 kills, not bad at all. Dark will not clean that up, as Innovation is going to be pulling him apart. The best way to keep your opponent from attacking you is to attack yourself. Defend by aggression. That's what Innovation's motto has been this entire game, as he shuts down Dark's base to the north. He's attacking another base to the south left. And while Dark, he's got this superior unit comp, Innovation just hasn't given him time to use it the way he wants to. He's just been constantly trading out. Innovation probably going to lose most of these units here, probably not take the best trade possible. However, he shut down a base here to the north. He gets even yet another location. And Dark all of a sudden has to run all the way home. This is giving Innovation time to rebuild his army. We even see Dark trying to get up to Seismic Spines and maybe play Lurkers, probably just because they're good at defending locations against this kind of Terran aggression. But man, Innovation is showing us a masterclass TvZ right now. Dark is fighting incredibly hard to stay alive in this game, and he will get a nice blow by knocking off Innovation's base to the top right, but Innovation didn't just tunnel vision on one base because he's getting this base up to the left as well. This is going to give him a lot more longevity in this game, as opposed to if he had just lost his only income source. The Lurkers are now a factor, though, that Innovation is going to have to dance around. The Marauders can potentially pick him off, but when it's Ling Lurker, it is tough for the Terran to take a good fight. So Dark playing a bit of an unorthodox style here, but I fully believe he's got the capability to make it work. And oh, look at that, the Corruptors even move in, out-damaging that SCV repair, picks off Innovation's actual 5th base, so making the Terran incredibly reliant on this location right now. If Innovation loses this base, this lifeline, I'm going to say it's lights out for him. All the while, though, I haven't even really pointed out how Dark himself has been knocked down to a very low economy, to a very low number of bases. Look at this. He's starting to mine out really his only base. I mean, it's not mined out yet, but the mineral patches are getting low. He lost this location here. He had to rebuild that. He lost this location to the north, and it's going to be very tough at this point, I feel, for Dark to secure another base. So it's kind of becoming just a situation of who can outlast who can trade the most efficiently. And I want to say Innovation is in the better spot because this base is more fresh for him than Dark's bases are. Innovation getting building armor, getting high-sec auto tracking. He knows how important it is that these planetaries get a benefit from it. As if Innovation loses this location here, I am comfortable to say that that could be a game-ending move for Dark, or at least a great equalizer here, because Dark is definitely behind right now, but if he knocks down Innovation's really main mining base, he'll be in a much better spot. But look at this. Once again, Innovation rolls on and cancels Dark's hatchery. Dark using these Lurkers to keep the Terran pressured, but look at this. Dark forcing the Terran back, but Innovation seems to be trading alright. He's retreating to a Widow Mine field. Widow Mines are notoriously cheap. Those Widow Mines will get baited out by the Corruptors, however, that is dead Corruptors that Dark really can't afford to rebuild at this stage in the game. Dark hasn't been comfortable this entire game, which is something I should point out. He hasn't been comfortable going for a kill move, trying to over-swarm the Terran, compromise the production. No, it's just been constant trades, base for base, and Dark's been on the losing end of it, whereas if he could say take a big fight, force Innovation to fight in one spot, then I think Dark could definitely win the game, but Innovation hasn't let him. He's just been attacking all over non-stop. We see Innovation now pushing towards the center, and while he's not attacking another location, he is expanding to another location, which is a brilliant move for the Terran. Keep the Zerg busy, then either expand or attack in another location. That is like textbook Terran play, textbook any race in Starcraft 2. I do like this move for Dark, though, moving in with the Lurkers. It is so tough to deal with Lurkers when you've only got Bio, and this is a mass amount of Lurkers. I don't know if any amount of Bio can break this location, so Dark pushing in, potentially going to knock off Innovation's economy here. Dark's own bases have really taken a beating this game, but if the Lurkers can take out this 5th base, if they can prevent Innovation from taking that bottom left, it will be huge for Dark. Innovation going to be getting repelled now. All of a sudden, his great spot seems to be falling worse and worse. Of course, though, Innovation doesn't skip a beat. Going to be hitting Dark, killing off countless drones, it would seem. Well, only 10, but there's a lot more that could go down. Innovation going to have to kite back with this Bio, getting drones, trading out pretty well versus the Lings, it would seem, focusing down the Lings, focusing down the Banelings there. We see the Marauders trading out pretty well against the Zerg Force. Lurkers now pushing in towards Innovation's 3rd base, so this is why the Terran might want Liberators at this stage in the game, because Liberators really are the answer to Lurkers and Innovation. I don't think he can afford to make these now. He's going to be getting up this base to the bottom left, and it is critical that he mules that immediately, but right now Dark could potentially be winning out here. The lurker attack is something that Innovation really hasn't had an answer for, and it is the strong blow that Dark has been looking for. We see Innovation kiting back, but his supply is falling. It's mainly all bio in Medivacs now, and it looks like Dark is going to repel Innovation. Innovation should be muling the heck out of this base here, but he is not just yet. And I think that's probably because Innovation sees the writing on the wall. SCV's running through lurkers. These lurkers, a great move from Dark, allowing him to get attacks in that Innovation would have normally repelled, allowing him to defend bases that Innovation could have normally attacked. Really being a great closer here for Dark. I know I kind of focused on Innovation throughout this entire game. Maybe the fact that I play Terran, but Dark has been playing an incredible ZVT. I love the choice for him to go for lurkers. He's been so constant with keeping his economy going. He's still on 60 drones despite Innovation attacking essentially from minute 5 to non-stop in this game, and it looks like Dark will win. GG. The Zerg player takes it in an absolutely insane Terran versus Zerg. Dark lost 900 Zerglings this game. That is mental. That was a beautiful play from both players. I gotta commend Dark for his defensive play from his choice to use the lurkers. Just his just relentlessness to keep his economy going. So many Zergs would have let Innovation destabilize them, but no, someone as good as Dark, always replacing bases he lost, always transferring his workers, making sure that he's not falling too far behind on the economy. And Dark really had quite a decent economy this entire game. I mean, he was in the economic lead for a large portion of it, despite taking so many attacks. And yeah, that's what's really impressive about Dark's Zerg play. A lesser Zerg would have fallen under the pressure of Innovation, and then just the lurkers were the cherry on top. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was like 25 minutes of non-stop talking. I'm gonna have to take a break before I do another video here. But press that subscribe button if you want to see more videos. Let's try and break 100 likes for this beautiful, beautiful ZVT. And then join the Discord if you want. Check out the memberships if you'd like to support the channel, support the even live streams I've been doing lately. I'll see you next time. This has been LaughNgamez.